Hi, thanks for watching Parks in Your Pocket. My name is Dave, and today I'm going to give you some tips for taking photos here at Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure to try and up your Instagram game. My first tip is think about the crowds and either get here early or stay here late to try and take some photos, depending upon whether you want to have daylight photos or evening photos. So if there's a whole bunch of people walking around the park, it can be really hard to get interesting angles and stuff because people will just walk in your shots. You like to look like you own the park, like there's nobody here. I mean, look how few people there are. It's amazing. But if I turn over this way, there's a big mess of people over that way. So I'm choosing times of day so that I can get backgrounds that don't have just a buttload of people in them. So think about the time of day, think about the lighting that you're going to get at that time of day, and accommodate for that. All right, so a lot of the times when you take character photos, you're going to want to take a quick photo and you'll just kind of whip it up at shoulder level and take a picture like this. And a lot of times those are kind of boring, but if you want to get more interesting shots, you can try and take a low angle or take an angle that not everybody's photo is going to be at. So like if I get down here and I take a cool photo, I might be able to get a really interesting shot of Hello Kitty, and make sure you pay attention to what's in the background and try and get an interesting background and interesting composition, and you'll get a lot better shots and a lot more Instagram followers if you just use photos like that instead of just a quick shot at the shoulder. Another thing you should make sure to do is explore the park. Find interesting places with interesting things to be able to take photos of. Don't try and take photos of all the really popular places because everybody's seen those 1,000 times. So try and find the interesting pictures that people haven't seen, and you can get interesting angles, and oftentimes when it's someplace a little bit out of the way, there's nobody there, which helps with making sure that it looks like you're alone in the parks, which is really going to make your photos a lot more impressive. Another fun thing to do when you're taking pictures, either in an amusement park or just anywhere, if you're trying to take pictures for Instagram, is to bring little toys with you so that you can set up little scenes, because a lot of the times that will be popular because of the repetition. So if I really like this Dr. Octopus toy, I might try and take a whole bunch of pictures around the park and put him in a lot of different interesting situations with little black suit Spider-Man here. So there's a lot of things you could do with just a little tiny toy, and you can put them in a lot of interesting positions, especially in a theme park. Another tip to get really interesting photos that not a lot of people have is do your research and see if there are any special things that can happen on a ride. Like here at Men in Black, if you go up and you ask for an immigration tour, they'll give you they'll put you in a special queue that lets you go and see the aliens up close that are in the queue. So everybody else is usually on the top floor, you'd actually be able to walk around on the bottom floor, but they don't do it all the time. But if you're lucky, you might be able to get in there and get some really unique pictures. Something to think about when you're trying to get photos for Instagram or just really good vacation photos is pay attention to where the majority of the people are going. You probably don't want to go that way because there's going to be so many people. So here in London, in King's Cross, you can either go down the main street or you can go along the lagoon here, and there's a lot less people over there. So let's go over there and see if we might be able to find some interesting photos. Another thing to think about when you're taking photos is maybe if there's a fence or some sort of thing in between you and what you want to take a photo of, you can either get really close, stick your camera right through the slats of the fence, or you might be able to get a really good angle by going like really up high over the fence, or even taking your camera and flipping it and putting it down really, really low. That way you get really interesting angles and stuff that you haven't seen 1,000 times, which is really the important thing about getting photos from your vacation that you're really, really proud of. Sometimes when you explore the parks, you'll want to dip into restaurants and stuff because some of the theming in these restaurants can be pretty amazing, and there's a lot of really good pictures in here. But you definitely don't want to come at any time where people are eating, like lunchtime or supper time. Like right after breakfast is a fantastic time to be in here because there's a lot less people in here than there will be in a couple hours. Another good idea is to bring a little bendable tripod like this one, so you can set yourself up with an interesting shot and then start a photo, set a timer, and then run and get in the shot. So A lot of the times you can find kind of an area where people won't step on your phone, and you can have a little bendable tripod like that one that will definitely make you get a lot better photos and gives you a lot of interesting angles. Like I just put this on the ground here in Diagon Alley, and I have this very interesting angle behind me, and I'm able to cut out quite a bit of the crowd. There are quite a few things you can do on your phone, but if you have a dedicated camera, a lot of the times you'll be able to swap out lenses and have a lot more control. But there's an awful lot that you can do on your phone, and I bet you didn't know that 3 of the photos in this video were taken on my phone. So can you tell which ones? I mean, if you can't, you might not need a better camera, but personally I like my camera because I can zoom in, I can swap out the lenses, I can control a lot more than I can on my phone. But still, my phone works really well, and you can get away with just having that and getting great photos from your vacation. A lot of the times when you're taking photos, you want to pay attention to what's in the background, like those clouds. So if I wanted to get a better shot, I might want to frame the dragon's head out of the clouds by moving over this direction a little bit until I get it into the blue sky, which gives it a lot better outline in my opinion. Those fluffy clouds can really kind of ruin the outline of that dragon up there. So a lot of the rides won't let you actually bring camera equipment and stuff onto the rides, but that doesn't mean you can't bring it into the queue. And a lot of these queues are really amazing, and there's a lot of interesting stuff there. So if you're really after pictures, or if you're not interested in going on the rides, it's still definitely worth it to go through these queues, especially the Harry Potter rides, because they have a lot of interesting things that you can take really cool photos of. And you can get pretty close to them. Like here at Gringotts, they have these goblins here at these desks. If you go beyond this point, you can get some okay photos, but really this room is where the really awesome stuff is here in Gringotts. So don't be afraid to jump in the queue just to get a photo. Now, anytime you're in the queue or anywhere in the parks, be sure to look all around you. You might miss something that'd be a really cool Instagram photo that most people miss. For instance, if you want to get the best vacation photos that you can, I can't recommend enough that you literally come at it from a different angle. So if you see a whole bunch of people walking directly towards something cool and getting right in front of it, maybe you just walk past it a little bit and you'll have a very interesting angle that's very unique compared to the thousands and thousands of pictures that people take at the place where they normally stand. So you might be able to get some interesting stuff, or you can put your camera down at a really low angle and get a more interesting shot by coming at it from a completely different angle. So a lot of the times at a theme park you might get a target of opportunity, such as the Blues Brothers mobile coming through here. So be ready and keep your head on the swivel just in case you might miss something that'd be really awesome. So if you want to get cool action shots like Rip Riding Rocket here, definitely be patient. So don't just assume you're going to get a good shot the first time. Probably you want to make sure that your camera will take a whole bunch of pictures all at once when you hold down the shutter, either on your phone or on an actual camera like the one that I have. And don't just wait for one car to come through. Wait and try and get a few, maybe get it from a couple of different angles, maybe close up, and just be patient. And if you really want to get a really awesome picture of any of the rides, definitely walk around the ride. Come at it from all the different angles that you can and try and find a really good spot. Sometimes you'll see signs that say photo spot. And while those are an okay spot to take a picture, you might have better luck if you come at it from a different angle. Getting this close, you have to have the right camera to be able to make it work. But I think if we head over to that platform over there, we might get a better shot. Or even over here, these platforms across the water, you'll get a reflection on the water, especially if you're taking a photo at night. So if you're leaving at night, you might not want to just take a photo right here up next to this globe, because everybody has that photo. And you want something unique, and something that you can be proud of, and something that people are going to go, wow, you took a good photo on your vacation. If you look off the beaten path, you can find a lot of really cool spots with really interesting backgrounds that you can take photos in. You know, you just have to go away from where all the people are, and you can get really cool photos that that are just you and are very memorable when you were in that little secluded place taking photos, just so you had some keepsakes. Just keep looking around. You'll find all kinds of places here. You want to be really aware of your light too, because if I took a picture right now, my entire face would be in shadow, and it's not a very good picture unless you're really wanting to like highlight your hair or something. Or your really cool hat. You see, a lot of the times you can get really focused on the lighting or trying to get a good shot and be more focused on yourself, trying to make sure that you are lit well and not really framing up your background. A lot of the times it comes down to the time of day that you're taking the shot. So if you just can't, if you come through an area and you just can't get a good shot, try coming back in a few hours. Right now it's almost noon and the sun is right above me, which means I'm going to get a lot of really harsh shadows on my face. So it's not really a fantastic time to be taking photos, so you probably want to just enjoy rides when it's like this. So when you're taking photos or video, you really want to be aware of everything that's in your shot, because you might have something embarrassing just right behind you and you wouldn't know it. Like an elephant butt. Big stinky elephant butt. Ideally when you're taking pictures, you want to have a foreground, a middle ground, and then a background in them to give them a good sense of depth. That can be really tricky at an amusement park, especially if you don't have an eye for it. But just know that you want to stand a little bit farther away from the thing that's in the mid-ground so that you can get an interesting photo. If I was right up against this rock, right here, right up against this, I mean, you get a little bit of depth, or if I'm right in front of this, it's probably gonna be a little loud. You get an interesting shot, but I'm in the sun, it's kind of not set up properly, so if you want to take good photos that people like on Instagram, you probably want to know all the places. You probably want to know all the places that people might have. So definitely be aware of all the places that people might have an emotional reaction to, like the talking fountain here, and get photos of that. Even if it's not your favorite thing in the parks, somebody might connect with it. So if you're trying to get interesting shots in a really crowded area like Hogwarts here, more than likely you won't be able to take a shot like at a normal angle. You'll have to either put your camera down low or put your camera up high to be able to get that shot. So look around, look up, and try and find interesting things that you can put in your background so that you can get cool shots. Another thing to think about when you're trying to find good things to take photos of here at the parks, try and look for something odd or something that not everybody would notice that you can point out that people might talk about online. Like, did you ever notice here in Toon Lagoon that this dog has 4 tails? Because he's wagging his tail so fast that they actually sculpted it to have 4 tails, so it looks like it's wagging while it's still standing still. Those kind of things, you might be able to start a discussion when on Instagram or Facebook, and then make your picture more popular just by the people discussing it. Okay, so that's just about all the photo tips I have for you if you're trying to get good photos for your social media like the Instagram or Facebook. The one thing I wasn't able to cover because it wasn't raining for me, but I really do like it when it rains in the parks, because you can take your camera and put it really close to the surface of a puddle and you'll get a reflection and you get really cool shots that way. But unfortunately it didn't rain for me and I wasn't going to pour a whole bunch of water on the ground to try and make a puddle. But it's definitely worth doing. If it rains, salvage the day and take some really awesome photos. Alright, well, that's all I've got for you today. If you haven't already, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. On this channel, pretty much what I do is I look at different theme parks and different rides from a big and tall perspective, but I also try and give you tips that could just help anybody. So just subscribe to the channel and you won't miss the next video. Hey Pocketeers, Dave here. I hope you liked the video. Please leave me a comment down below telling me what you thought of it. And if you'd like to help the channel, please like this video and maybe share it on Facebook or Twitter. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check back every Sunday for a new video. All right, well, I'll see you again real soon.